How to draw in perspective. What is perspective? A method for creating the illusion of 3D space on a flat surface. To achieve this, 4 key principles are essential. Overlapping. Objects in the foreground overlap those in the background, making them appear closer to the viewer. Size progression. Objects become visually smaller as they recede into the distance. Placement. In a landscape, there are 3 distinct areas: the foreground, middle ground, and background. Mathematical precision. Using a ruler or triangle to make sure that the lines are accurate. In perspective, there are important lines that we need to know. Vertical lines go up and down. Horizontal lines go right and left, the direction of the horizon. Parallel lines, 2 lines that go the same direction and do not intersect. And lastly, perpendicular lines, 2 lines that come together to make a 90-degree angle. Foreground. This is the part of the scene that is closest to the viewer. Items in the foreground are the most detailed, brightest in color, appear large, and overlap all other elements. The middle ground. This is the space between the foreground and the background. The background is part of the landscape that is furthest from the viewer. Elements in the background are usually blurry, lighter in color, and smaller. Important vocabulary. Horizon line and eye level. A line where water or land ends and the sky begins. It is also usually the eye level of the viewer. The vanishing point. A point at which receding lines converge. Orthogonal lines. Diagonal lines that meet at the vanishing point. To draw boxes in one-point perspective, you start with horizon line. Then you place a vanishing point on that horizon line. You then start by drawing a geometric shape, like a square or a rectangle. Since the vanishing point is my eye level, and this box is above my eye level, I am looking up at it, which means I will see the bottom of the box. I then am going to take my ruler and draw 3 orthogonal lines going to my vanishing point. To finish the box, I am going to add parallel lines in between the orthogonal lines. Whatever line is in the front, I match it in the back. So if it's vertical in the front, I draw a vertical in the back. If it's horizontal in the front, I draw a horizontal in the back. Again, we are going to start with the geometric shape. We are then going to take our orthogonal lines and go to our vanishing point. Then we draw parallel lines in between those orthogonal lines. Whatever's in the front, we repeat in the back. Let's try that one more time. Start with a geometric shape. Draw your orthogonal lines to the vanishing point. This time I only have 2. And then make a parallel line in between those 2 orthogonal lines. So remember, your horizon line is your eye level. If it's above the horizon, I'm looking up. If it's below the horizon, I'm looking down. And if it's on the horizon, it's at my eye level. Let's practice. Boxes in one-point perspective. City in one-point perspective. To draw a city in one-point perspective, I like to start with my street, where I start to make my sidewalk by drawing orthogonal lines going to the vanishing point. The sidewalk lines in one-point perspective are horizontal. If you want the lines in the curb, those are going to be vertical. Now to draw buildings in one-point perspective, we are going to start with drawing boxes in one-point perspective. I always start in the foreground and work my way back because there's a lot of erasing involved, and things in the foreground overlap things in the background. So remember, when drawing boxes, we start with the geometric shape, we draw orthogonal lines to the vanishing point, and whatever's in the front, we repeat in the back that's parallel to the front. Remember to erase as you go and fix all your mistakes as you go. Once you have all your boxes laid out in your landscape, you're now ready to start adding your details to your building. And so just remember these rules. In one-point perspective, there's a side of a box that converges back into space, and there's a side that does not. On the side that converges back into space, all doorways, windows, and any other architectural decorative elements will go back to the vanishing point. Notice how anything drawn in the front geometric shapes will not go back to the vanishing points. Now let's try it for 2-point perspective. We start with a horizon line and we add 2 vanishing points. Remember that horizon line is my eye level. In 2-point perspective, there is no flat geometric shape. Everything recedes back to a vanishing point. I start with a vertical line. I then draw 2 orthogonal lines on each side receding back to the vanishing points. I then add a vertical line between each orthogonal line and make sure that they're parallel to the center. To make the bottom of the box, I'm going to take the opposite line to the opposite point. Let's try it again. Start with a vertical. Take the tops and bottoms to your vanishing point, add a vertical, add another vertical, and crisscross on top. Let's practice. Boxes in 2-point perspective. City in 2-point perspective. When I first start drawing a city in 2-point perspective, I like to start with the ground first. I draw orthogonal lines coming from my vanishing points. To draw the sidewalk cracks, I line up the opposite side with the opposite point. From there, I just start drawing boxes in 2-point perspective. I start with a vertical, take the tops and bottoms, go to my vanishing point, and then draw 2 verticals on each side. In 2-point perspective, both sides converge back into space, which means all doorways and windows and any other decorative elements will go back to the vanishing points. I hope this was helpful, and remember to keep on practicing.